Our guest this week is one of the fastest growing independent country artists in the game. When I think of people who are taking full advantage of today's social media landscape to grow their career, I think of this human being. Popping up on the Billboard Emerging Artist charts, the Billboard Digital Sale charts, and to get a song at #1 on the all genre iTunes charts as an independent artist is a really big deal. And our guest has done just that and a whole lot more. I think our guest this week is so talented and so kind, and I think we'll be seeing her at the top of these charts many, many more times. We've been in the same friend group for what feels like forever, but we've never really had the chance to just sit down and chat and get to know each other. So I'm very excited to announce that our guest this week is Haley Mae Campbell. Hello, friend.
Wow,
How are
you
you
make
doing?
me sound so cool.
That's because you're so cool.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm
course.
stoked to be here.
Heck yeah. Well, cheers. We have a coffee-tea combo going on.
Yes, we do.
Little
It's
afternoon.
the perfect combo.
The best. The best. We were just talking about some of our mutual friends. Like, that's kind of what I said in the intro. I feel like I've known of you. I've known you. We've met a few times, just kind of in passing and like, hey, what's up? But I've never gotten to just like sit and hang and chat.
know.
So my podcast is basically just an excuse for me to either meet people for the first time or to get to know people better.
I love
and yeah, just catch up with old friends. So welcome. Thank you for being on the pod.
Thanks for having
We
me.
appreciate you, of course. My first question is just like, why Nashville? Why country music? Like, how did you get here and why country?
Yeah. Well, I spent a lot of my young life fighting being in country, which is kind of funny. I didn't grow up listening to country music, really. I grew up listening to kind of like a lot of bluegrass and Americana and like rockabilly, if you know
Sure.
what that is. Like my parents' favorite band was like the old 97s.
Okay.
Which is like not a band that kids should listen to probably, but we're just in the back of the station wagon like rocking out.
I love it.
And so I kind of grew up listening to a lot of that, like Alison Krauss, that kind
Love
of
Alison
like
Krauss.
country, but like not country radio, if
Sure.
that makes sense. So when I started writing songs and I picked up a guitar at like 13, I was like writing these very story-based songs, but I was like, no, like country's not cool, like, you know, whatever. I was a little emo indie kid when I was in middle school. The side bang and the whole nine, but
Yes.
I was like, no, like I'm gonna do like folk rock music or pop rock music, something that's, you know, cool and, you know, whatever. So I was kind of trying to chase that down and figure that out. And I put out like a folk rock style EP after I had put out like, I went to Nashville and I did the whole like band in a studio, hired session musicians album. I did that when I was like 15 and I put it out when I was 16 and I was like, no.
I did the same thing.
Yes, and I mean, it was probably the same for you. I had no creative control.
None.
They just like took my songs as they were like on a work tape and it was like 2 passes through and it was done. And then I did 5 days of vocals. So I definitely kind of just rebelled against like that aspect of it.
Sure.
It maybe wasn't country, but like that's my only experience with it at the time.
Yeah, which
so
would have been tough.
it was, it was just a good learning experience. But of
course.
I went back to Charleston and I kind of gathered some of my ragtag musical friends and I was like, hey, like we're going to be in a band and like we're going to play music and you don't have a choice. So, and one of them is sitting in that room. Ryan's
Nice.
been with me since the very
Shout out
beginning.
Ryan.
So he's been all through all my loops and turns and twists. But I put out this folk rock EP and I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting the hang of like the creative control and arranging and all that stuff. And then
Sure.
I basically was just getting booked by the local radio stations to do all these, you know, the opening slots for when, you know, whoever's doing on their radio tour comes through and they like to have a local act. And I was kind of in the easy to grab pile for that, just kind of being one of the few people in Charleston that were doing music in general. And I just, every time I did it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I got to open for like Dan and Shay back in the day when they were just starting out with, you know, their first singles and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, I just started to learn more about it. And then I remember I was like driving when I first got my license and Somewhere With You by Kenny Chesney came on the radio. And I was like, all right. Let me take a minute and like learn a little bit more about this country music thing.
I love that that's the song because
And
I think about that
that's the
song
song.
all the time as like
It's
a
one of my
benchmark
favorites.
of like just country music.
Yep.
That is so cool and yet progressive, but yet is so country.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Exactly. And I was just like, I need to know everything about this. So it was like all signs point to Nashville. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm country. And then I kind of just embraced it and spent the next, obviously, few years kind of finding what my niche and my sound was in the genre. But yeah, that was the song that really kind of made me realize country was cool.
I love Kenny.
So thanks, Kenny.
Yeah. I mean, my big dream and goals to like play a football stadium, and that comes from going to see Kenny Chesney growing up because he would come to Mile High Stadium, and I felt the same way. Like, just a guy who I was like, I don't know what that is, but I want to do that.
Yes, exactly.
It's just super cool.
That's so funny that we have like kind of him in common. I think he just probably has inspired so many more people than he even could ever fathom.
The GOAT. Thanks,
yes.
Kenny. We love you because we know you're listening for sure.
Yes, we know you're listening. I thought we were like maybe had him up there. I was like, am I looking for him? No, he's just up there.
We have Garth who looks on us, you know.
I'll find you some kind of Kenny thing.
Perfect. Note to self: we need some Kenny on the shelf.
On the shelf.
So, okay, you move here, you're doing your thing, you're finding your way. What pointed you towards the internet, Reels, TikTok? Obviously, you've had a ton of success on there. I think that's a big part of your song "Never Been in Love," doing what it's done, which has been huge, especially for an independent artist.
Yeah.
What was the like inspiration, or like what drew you to that way to put your music out there, like you have?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was not one of the first, and I think I just kind of watched, you know, friends of mine like Priscilla Block and Lily Rose, you know, kind of take that path, and I kind of got on TikTok when a lot of other people did during the early days of the pandemic, just to entertain myself, and then, you know, I was posting for fun, and it was a few like months into it that I was like, okay, like this could really be like a good tool, and you know, just took kind of a lot of trial and error of finding like what works, what doesn't. And I think it's different for everybody. And eventually just, you know, I wanted to put out Never Been in Love. And I was like, okay, well, like what's going to get people excited about this song? What's like, what part of this story can people invest their heart and souls in? And I think I found it. And I think that that's the only explanation of, you know, why the song did and continues to do what it's done. It's a really, really huge game changer for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. I love how you talked about, because I think about this all the time. It's like you write the song and then you're actually thinking of hooks about the song on the internet, which is a
1,000%.
weird, like double
so
creative
weird.
thing. It's like now you don't just have to write the song. You have to think about why that song is special, what about it is hooky. And like the song or the video that blew up for you was in the car.
Yep.
Tell me that story. Like, how did you think of that, and kind of take me through that video blowing up? Like, what was your reaction? Like, what happened?
Yeah,
those days?
Exactly. It's of course, you know, I had seen the trend of the car videos, and but at that point, most of the ones that I had seen were just kind of people by themselves in the car, if that makes sense. And I kind of wanted to do something that was, you know, at least a little bit. You know, different from that, and kind of show like an aspect into like the inspiration of the song. So I have like my boyfriend in the car with me, and I'm showing him the song, which is kind of the part that people fell in love with. Obviously.
No, it's so endearing. It's so cute.
Yeah, it just turned out great, and I thought this is definitely, you know, I think when people get a chance to see why you wrote a song, that's the part that they can really get behind. And obviously you also agree, when it's a bop, it just makes it even better.
Exactly.
So it was, you know, just a great, happy, upbeat song. And at that time also, I think a lot of the songs that were going viral were like really sad. So it was like, you know, like
refreshing.
Everybody was telling me like, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Like happy songs don't go viral. And I was like, well, you know, we're going to find out. So I was glad that it was a happy song, because I just like, you know, my goal is just to make people happy and make people feel, you know, like they can escape their everyday with listening to that. And, you know, I think it was just a great combination of timing and effort that worked out.
Yeah. So. No, I love it. Did you guys put out a wedding version of that song? Does it have like a strip?
We have, like a first dance version where we like even actually slowed it down a little bit, and we added, we had Ian play cello on it.
Way.
It's awesome. So beautiful. I love it so much. Yeah, but I've had people tag me in their videos.
That's what I was going to ask, because I'm sure you have. It's such a first danceable song.
Yeah.
And
we wanted to make a version like that, but I remember I've seen videos of people just like dancing to the original at their wedding, and I'm like, cool, like,
do your thing.
Let's get it going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Either way, but yeah, it's been really cool to see that, and it's just a way to, I don't know, that's when it feels the most real to me, when you like are seeing the way that other people are like taking something you made and bringing it into their own life and their own story, and like on one of the most important days of their life, you're like, okay, like this is real. I'm really out here doing this.
No,
so
there's not a cooler
it's
feeling.
It's one of the most rewarding
that.
things.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
What do you feel like are some of your goals, or like what are some things that you'd like to see happen, you've seen some success, obviously online. Do you want to sign a deal? Are you like industry focused? Are you more focused on just growing this thing? Like, because I think we're in a class and a group of people who there's lots of different ways to go about it. And like you can even look at somebody like Priscilla who signed a big deal and it's working for her. I think we all have friends who have signed big deals and it maybe hasn't gone the way that they wanted to. We also have friends like, you know, Cooper Allen, who's like selling hundreds and hundreds of tickets and he doesn't have a deal. So there's so many avenues. Do you kind of see yourself fitting in any of those or none of those, or tell me everything?
Yeah, I mean, my dream has always been to, I think the most important thing for me is playing shows, being on the road, like almost similar to you. Like I want to be headlining the arena someday, you know? And I think for country music, a huge part of that is still country radio. So, I mean, for me, definitely a dream and a goal would be to have a number one on country radio. And I think that would be the aspect that would make me, you know, want to maybe work with a label someday. And if that was kind of their mindset and approach as well, you know, I think that's a great thing that Priscilla did. Like, I know she was like, I'm not signing anywhere unless you're taking me to radio. So I really admired that. And I love that she did that because there are so many things you can do. I mean, you can do almost everything by yourself these days if you continue to grow your, you know, your fan base and your brand and everything. So I think that would be the goal for me, would be to find a team that like wants to get on board with that dream and kind of wants to make that work and make that happen. But yeah, I'm open to any and all avenues, honestly. I'm just, you know, putting out the music I love, and I just want somebody who's going to be like really bought in on that. Yeah,
you need a champion and I think you need a champion who understands what you do well, which is like understanding the internet and doing that game. I'm in a pretty similar boat where I don't feel like I can go through the old label system, but I know that I need country radio. So it's like this very interesting place, especially in history, where TikTok's new, the labels are old. Do they adapt? Does TikTok change? Like, the internet is in this weird phase. I'm really curious to see, especially our class of human beings who are in town at kind of at the same time doing the same thing, what shakes out and like how that plays out in the end.
I think we're in a really like transitional time, and it's either gonna go one of like a lot of ways and like shake out. And I can't wait to see what becomes the new normal, if that makes sense.
That's how I feel too. I'm super curious. In 5 or 10 years, do massive record labels still, is that just like by far and away the way that people break, or is it purely internet and it's more manager companies or like mini label services companies? Like, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
It's super scary. Well, it's super scary to be in our place, but I think it's also, I'm just an optimist.
You're a serial optimist. That's
I'm a serial
for sure.
optimist. I think that it's one of the coolest opportunities in history.
100%.
To be in the 90s, and like, I've said this on here before, but like to be in the 90s and have to go to Tootsie's and just pray that Mike Dungan is grabbing a beer at the right time during the right song when you hit the note and he goes, whoa, who is that person?
Yeah.
Versus
insane.
Now he's just getting an email from his whole team going, have you heard Never Been in Love?
Right, exactly.
Did you see this person on the chart? Did you, like, we just have so much autonomy, and I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah, and we can like find anyone's email address nowadays.
It's crazy.
We're like, hey, did you see but you know,
right?
It always comes when it helps when it comes from a friend of a friend.
Absolutely. Okay, so
it won't stop me.
Yeah, I'm going to move into what I think is my favorite part of the interview, which is asking the big old why are we here questions. So I'm going to start off with, what is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given?
Be careful what you write. You might have to sing it forever.
Oh, it's so good. Tell me everything. Have you ever had a song where like, I mean, you put out an EP and then took it down, so you are in the same boat, which I've done twice in my life. I did something at like 19 and 21 that I hope dies in the furthest hole that can ever die.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've been like down that road. Is that something that you think about now a ton when you write songs?
It totally is. I think we joke about it, my band and I, because, I mean, obviously Never Been in Love is kind of becoming one of those songs that, like, it'd be surprising if I wasn't playing that song, like, 10 years from now, just because of, like, what it's done and everything.
100%.
And we all joke, we're like, whew, thank God we hate this one the least.
Exactly.
You know, when you play a song so many times and you don't get bored of it, that's when you know it's a gem. So we joke about it, and I do think about it though when I'm writing and releasing. is this something that I'm going to stand by years from now? And you can only do the best you can in the moment. But sometimes you take down those old EPs and you start over, and it's
what
just
kills
life.
me almost more is having an awesome song being like, wish we would have rewrote the bridge.
Oh,
I wish that second verse detail, and this is like, get super nitty gritty, but like, I wish that second verse detail was just a little bit more personal.
yeah.
And that, like, because I'm the same way. I played 6 shows in 8 days, and like, without outing myself, there's this one detail in this one song, and every time I hear it, I'm like, I just don't connect with that. And I wish that I did. And it now just pushes me when I'm in the writer's room to be like, okay, it's just following your advice. I do have to sing this every night.
Yeah.
So I better love the second verse.
Yeah,
because right now it's just like, no, we got it. Like, no, beat it.
Exactly. And especially when you're writing it for you, I think like that's something I've been working on, is like being not afraid to say like, okay, but this is how I would say it.
Exactly.
And if I'm the one saying it, then I want to figure out how to say it exactly how I want to, because it's going to be more obvious to like the fans and the people listening that it is authentic. And it's so important with today's, just all goes back to the social media. Like, people want to know you, and they want to know what you think and what you feel, and that's why they're buying in to these, artists that are somewhat underground and independent. So I totally relate to that.
And I think the reason why something like all of your music is working is because the like video in the car with your boyfriend, it's real. You can't you can't manufacture that lyric or that story. Yeah. And I think that's like what fans are, especially nowadays. I think, back to like the 90s, early 2000s, a lot of it was just like, let's tell a story, and then here, Tim, take that story, and now go. Versus like, people want to hear about Carly Pearce's divorce, right? Exactly. Because it's so visceral and so personal. People want to hear about Thomas Rhett's kids, and like, if you have someone that made you feel like you'd never been in love, they want to hear that.
Right.
Like,
I mean, without social media, we never would have known that that's not their story. It's just the best dang song that came through the office that week, So, yeah, that's another really, I think, exciting part about how the industry has changed in the last few years. Just
100%.
I don't think anybody saw that part of it coming necessarily, and now it's like, oh, wait, like, they actually, I think Kelsey Ballerini is a great example, too.
100%.
Like, she's just out there on her social media, and she's just like, this is what I'm feeling today, blah, blah,
Super
blah.
authentic.
And that's why people, like, clung on to her so early. I think she was one of the first people to really embrace that.
Couldn't agree more. Great piece of advice. That one's a little heavy for that early on. There's some of these that are just like, whoa, that's a big question, which is why it's in there. When was the last time you had a gut feeling about something and you turned out to be right? You had a gut feeling like, oh, I should do this. Or actually, I'm going to extend the question. When's the last time you had a gut feeling and you turned out to be right, or you turned out to be wrong? And what was going on?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think it definitely would probably just be, for me, it's just like what to release when, I think. And
which is such a gut thing.
It's such a gut thing, and it changes on a dime, and then you're like, no, actually, I think this now. So and then you're like, wait, why did I think that yesterday? That was dumb, and it's this now. And I think it's always that sort of thing when I'm looking at like my calendar or like my release year. First of all, terrifying, because it makes the time of a year feel like it's just going to go by like that, because it's like this release and then a couple months of promoting that and then this release. And it's like, sometimes I hate looking at time like that, but 100%. You do have to be prepared. And I think, I mean, Never Been in Love was kind of one of those things. I was going to put it out on like Valentine's Day. And then I was like, it's going to be so many other love songs to compete with. Wouldn't it be more fun to put it out on my birthday?
Yeah,
so nice. I was like, and I also had the dream of getting the #1, and I was like, it's going to be way easier to put it out on a Thursday. Yeah. If I can, pool as many supporters as possible and try 100%. To hit that. And it actually ended up working so well that it extended through the Friday.
That was crazy.
So I was like, I kind of got the Friday release, satisfaction by still releasing on Thursday. So I think that's probably one of them. But just in general, figuring out, like, listening back to songs I've written and being like, okay, like, what do I need to say next? Is kind of like what I always try to think about.
Such a gut thing. I was with Lydia, I think, when she heard that it was #1. We're all like,
really?
Whoa, that's crazy. And I think I was with her the next day too. She's like, No, it's like still number one. It's crazy.
It was crazy. We stayed up all night just waiting to see it change. And I have a video of just like when it refreshed and we're all just like screaming.
So cool. That's so cool. I think it's the first of many, many more. So I'm very excited.
I appreciate that. We shall see.
Oh, we shall see. What is the thing that you're the most proud of? And let's do outside of music.
Ooh.
Because sometimes I'm so bad at like, I feel like all of my pride stuff.
Hobbies? Yeah, I don't know.
Anything that I could be proud of has to be my career. I'm like, oh wait, no, I have like friends. I do other stuff, right?
You know, that putting it outside of music is really funny because I think about that a lot. And I think about what do I do when I'm not doing music? 100%. And honestly, it's not a lot. I'm a pretty dang good roller skater, though.
Are you really?
Yeah, I used to play roller derby when I was in high school.
Are we talking like the 4 skates, like 2 and 2?
Yeah, so like the quad skates. Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Whip It?
I haven't, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. So girls just beating each other up on skates. It was very good for my high school years.
That's dope.
Get out a lot of aggression.
I want to roller derby.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun. It's a good hobby, good pastime.
Yeah.
Just anything that can make me excited about exercising is like probably a really good thing. So yeah, I'm probably pretty proud of my like roller derby skills.
That's dope. I can't roller derby worth shit.
Yeah, I probably can't derby anymore, but I can still roll.
That's awesome.
So
do you struggle with the like work-life balance, for lack of a better term? Like
there's a life part?
Because I feel like we are in a similar place where you're having success, and if you feel like you step off of the hamster wheel, you're missing opportunities.
Yeah.
But if you feel like if you don't step off the hamster wheel, you're going to burn out or not feel inspired or whatever. So it's like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, I think I struggle with that the most with writing, honestly. I have to like convince myself to write a little bit less so that I have more to say.
Right.
Because I was at a point last year where I was writing 1 or 2 times every day. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm not, like, my life and my dream isn't to be the writer, the songwriter. Yeah. I love writing, and it's something I value, and it's a tool in my trade that I absolutely love. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm not Lydia. You know?
Yeah.
I have to reserve that energy a little bit and like convince myself, because I love it. It's so fun. Right. And I love doing it with my friends, and it's hard to ration that time a little bit better. But I find that I put my artist hat, in the back seat, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I haven't talked to any of my fans. I haven't posted. I haven't, just sat down and done an Instagram Q&A or, things like that. And I think that's been a real, struggle for me, but I'm finally getting there, I think.
Yeah.
I'm getting to a good balance, but
it's trial and error. A lot of it is like going through seasons. And the season that you talked about with the writing, I've done that. And I think every one of my friends has done that. It's the like, come to town. Oh, I don't really know how to write songs as good as other people. So we correct in the way which is like, I'm going to write 2 songs a day.
Yep.
And you do that. And you go from C to B+ to A to where like you can actually write an A-level song. But then you're on that hamster wheel and you're like, oh, I can now write great songs. I don't have to do this every day just to like sharpen my craft. Now I actually need to do this to write songs to put out.
Exactly.
And to do that, now I need life experience and rest and inspiration, because now I know how to, when I'm inspired, I know how to turn that into a song. But if I don't have inspiration or rest, then I can't write a great song and I can't put it out. Yeah.
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, that's definitely the struggle. And you don't want to like tell people like, no, I don't want to write right now.
I know.
I'm like, no, of course I want to write with you.
You would have killed to be in the right that the person's asking you to be. And you're like, no, I would love to.
No, that sounds so good, but
in June.
Exactly.
But right now, I'm stressed. I'm burnt out.
Exactly. And life. Getting back into touring season, I think is always that to me brings me so much experience and excitement and ideas and just seeing new things, being in new places is always something that inspires me. So I'm really looking forward to getting back out there.
Good. That's awesome. Do you believe in aliens?
Aliens? I don't know, honestly. I feel like probably.
That's how I feel too.
I don't think about it a lot. Like, I'm not really like fervently either way. But it would be silly to be like, no, definitely not.
That's how I feel.
We're here.
Yep. Big
We're
old universe.
basically aliens. So,
right? I think Brooke Alex was on the pod, and she was talking about how, like, we would be ugly to aliens, and that just made me laugh so hard because we are aliens to them, and they're like, oh God,
they're horrifying.
They have holes in their face, and like, like what do they look like? And,
I definitely imagine they probably don't have hair, and they're like, why do they have that?
Same. Oh my gosh, we're probably hideous to them.
Probably.
But then she goes, well, they're hot to each other, and I was like, that's what's weird.
That's all that matters. It's really all that matters. No, I think there's probably something out there.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Do you think you'll ever go to space in your lifetime?
I like to think that I would be down, but I think if it came down to it and I had the opportunity, I'd be like really terrified.
Would you?
Yeah.
Are you afraid of heights?
I would like to think, no, I'm not afraid of heights. Okay. I would like to think that I would do it.
Okay.
But also I'm just like, I don't know. Think about what you could do with that money that it would cost to go to space. I'm like, I don't know.
Hopefully in the future it's
do something good with it.
It's like just commercially viable. Where
yes, I would be down for that.
It's like, you could get a train ticket. I have a space shuttle ticket,
yeah. And it's like a price of a Southwest flight. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay, Southwest, we're waiting for you to take us to space.
Yes.
Please be the first
All
ones.
I can think of right now is the Jeff Bezos meme with the cowboy hat. And he's like, hell yes.
Hell yes.
Like, that's all I think about when I think of space these days.
Hell yes.
Well, when we can go to space, we're going to play this clip, and the next, you'll be on the podcast many times before that, but the next podcast that we can, we'll do it in space.
Love it.
Coming from space, it's...
Sign me up.
What is something that you don't give yourself enough credit for? Something that you're good at, but like you don't necessarily think about it, or it's not on the top of your mind a lot.
I think I'm a really good friend.
That's so sweet. I love that.
Yeah, I don't have like a lot of close friends, I would say, because, I just prioritize like the really solid. I mean, my band is like my best friends.
Yeah, that's very sweet.
But I think I'm a really good friend. I think I can anticipate people's needs really well, and like I can know when to go and do something extra for them and like go above and beyond. Like I've had the same best friend for like 10 years, 11 years. And we met at summer camp, and we've always been long distance friends, and she lived with me over the pandemic because she was in New York City.
Yeah.
So she moved in with me, and it was like a really fun new chapter in our like friendship that we got to kind of like get to know each other on like you do this on a day-to-day basis. Like I didn't know that. And I think there were just like a lot of times during that when we kind of got to go back and forth and kind of just soak in that like, yeah, this is like a really good lifelong friendship. So I think that like kind of sharpened my
underrated
skills,
the like childhood lifelong friend thing.
Definitely.
Especially in the industry that we're in, where I feel like you have a lot of acquaintances and a lot of people like, I technically know them. Yeah, and they're a friend and they're awesome. But that next level, like someone who knows you super deeply.
Like who are you going to when like
shit hits the fan?
And you're like, oh, it's not good right now.
Yeah, everybody needs those. I love that you're close to your band too. That's really cool.
They are the craziest people. I love them so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If my band's listening, we're not close at all. No,
and you actually hate them.
I love them very much.
My gosh.
Thank you so much for being on. I have one more question for you, and then I'm going to let you go because I know Ryan's got to get to the airport, people. He's got a flight to catch.
He's got it. He just chuckled in there. Did you hear him?
What is a detail about your story that very few people know?
That's a good question.
What's the thing that when you tell your story, or like your parents would be like, did you forget about the blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess there's a couple that are kind of funny. I was homeschooled, which is funny because people...
Did you like it or not like it?
I was homeschooled until 6th grade. Okay. And then I went to public school from 6th grade to 10th grade. And then I was homeschooled again because I was like, yikes, I just want to be done with this.
Yeah.
So I graduated early, and I didn't go to college. And I think some people are surprised to hear that because I think a lot of people still...
like, you gotta go to college.
But I was just like, I don't know. I think I could play cover gigs until I died if the worst case scenario happened. So I just moved to Nashville when I was 19. And
that's dope.
Here I am.
That.
I've also never eaten red meat, so there's a fun fact.
Never eaten red meat.
Nope.
Have you been like a vegan or vegetarian?
Pescatarian. Yeah. Well, growing up in Charleston, you have to eat fish.
Yeah,
it's like basically a vegetable. So, but yeah.
Homeschooled, pescatarian. Who didn't go to college? You heard it here, folks.
Freak who played roller derby.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, people are like, not even bacon. I'm like, not even.
You never had bacon?
No. But I always say, it's more for you. Shouldn't be offended. It's more for you.
I don't understand when people are like
people get really
by
upset
other
about
people's dietary choices.
Makes me laugh. I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah, no, it's not for me. Well, I just want to say one more time, really big thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really have like just been following along your last year and just been like so impressed and so just like a fan of what you're doing and who you are. And we just have so many of the same friends. So I was like, this is enough. We have to hang out.
Yes.
And now you're here, and I'm glad that you are. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Lot.
We should hang out off camera too.
I know.
Next time you're back from tour, we got to celebrate.
I would love to. Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, one more cheers.
Cheers. All right, y'all. That's another episode of Why Are We Here? Thank you so much for watching and listening, wherever you are, on the treadmill, in your car. Maybe you're cooking a nice salmon dinner, whatever the hell you're doing. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at @WhyAreWeHere_podcast. Tag us in your Instagram stories. Tag me at Spencer Crandall. We love you. See you next week. Bye. Why are we here?